I should have seen it coming, because with my sister, Sierra, it was always a competition. Growing up, if I got a B+, she had to get an A. If I made the varsity track team, she suddenly decided she was a star sprinter. She didn't just want to win, she wanted to win whatever was mine. My name is Elena, and until 72 hours ago, I was supposed to marry Mark. Mark was everything, or so I thought. He was a landscape architect, tall, with these crinkly eyes when he laughed. We'd been together for 5 years. We'd bought a fixer-upper in the suburbs. We had a golden retriever named Barnaby. We were building a life. But Sierra has this way of breathing all the oxygen out of a room. She's magnetic, my mother used to say. She just needs attention, Elena. Be the bigger person. Well, I'm done being the bigger person. The betrayal didn't start with a kiss. It started with a whisper. It was the night of our rehearsal dinner. We were at this high-end bistro downtown. 50 people, candlelight, expensive Merlot. Sierra was my maid of honor, looking effortlessly stunning in a silk slip dress that was definitely too tight for a family event. She stood up to give a toast. She held the glass, her hand trembling just enough to look vulnerable. "To Elena," she said, her voice smooth as honey, "my steady, reliable sister. And to Mark, the man who finally realized what he was missing." She looked at Mark when she said it, a long, lingering look. Mark didn't look away. He smiled, that small, private smile he usually reserved for me when we were sharing a pizza on the couch. My stomach dropped. It was a physical sensation, like a cold stone falling through my chest. I brushed it off. Wedding jitters, I told myself. You're being paranoid. 2 nights later, 36 hours before the I do's, I couldn't sleep. The house felt too quiet. Mark had stayed at his brother's place for the traditional night apart, or that's what he told me. But I realized I'd left the seating charts and the custom-made cake topper at our renovation house. I hopped in my car at 2 a.m. thinking I'd just grab them and head back to my parents' place. When I pulled into the driveway, Mark's truck was there, and so was Sierra's convertible. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just walked in. The front door was unlocked. They were in the living room on the vintage velvet sofa I'd spent 6 months restoring. The betrayal wasn't just the physical part. It was the laughter. "She's so clueless, Mark," Sierra was whispering, her head on his chest. "She actually thinks you're going to spend the rest of your life in this boring suburb planting petunias." Mark chuckled, that deep, warm sound that used to make me feel safe. "It's the money, babe. Once the wedding is finalized and we have the joint account, that inheritance from her grandmother, it's ours. We'll be in Cabo by the end of the month." I backed out of the house, quietly, like a ghost. I sat in my car in the dark for 3 hours. My grandmother had left me $60,000. It was supposed to be our forever fund, and they were planning to strip me blind while I was still wearing the white dress. I didn't call my mom. She'd just tell me to forgive and forget for the sake of the family photos. I didn't call Mark. Instead, I called a guy I went to high school with, Leo. He runs a high-end private investigation firm now. "Leo," I said.
My voice sounding like broken glass.
I need cameras. I need audio, and I need it now. The morning of the wedding was surreal. I sat in the bridal suite at the botanical gardens. The smell of lilies was suffocating. My mother was fussing over my veil, chirping about how radiant I looked. Sierra walked in, smelling like expensive perfume and secrets. She leaned down to hug me. "You ready, sis? Big day." "I'm ready," I said. I looked her right in the eye. "I'm going to give you and Mark a gift you'll never forget." She smirked. She thought I meant a check. She thought the ceremony was at the Grand Pavilion. 200 guests. The string quartet was playing something light and airy. Mark stood at the altar looking handsome in his charcoal suit. He actually had the nerve to look emotional when he saw me walking down the aisle. My father handed me over. He whispered, "You look just like your mother." We stood there. The officiant started the usual dearly beloved speech. But when he got to the part about if anyone knows any reason why these two should not be wed, I didn't wait for a guest to speak. I stepped back. Actually, my voice echoed through the pavilion. It was loud. It was clear. The music stopped. The guest started whispering. Mark turned pale. "Elena, what are you doing?" "I'm giving the toast early," I said. I pulled a small remote from my bouquet. Leo, play it. On the giant projection screens, the ones meant to show a journey of our love slideshow. A video started. It wasn't us at Christmas. It was the living room of our house 2 nights ago. High definition night vision. The audio was crystal clear. The entire guest list watched as Sierra mocked my boring life. They heard Mark describe how he was going to drain my bank account. They saw the magnetic maid of honor and the perfect groom together on my favorite sofa. The silence that followed was heavy, like the air before a massive thunderstorm. thunderstorm. Then my mother stood up. She didn't look at me. She looked at Sierra. And for the first time in 30 years, she didn't make an excuse. She walked over and slapped her. Mark tried to grab my arm. Elena, it was a mistake. I was stressed. I pulled away. I didn't yell. I didn't cause a scene. I just looked at him with total utter contempt. The house is in my name. The locks were changed an hour ago. Your clothes? They're in the dumpster behind the bistro where we had the rehearsal dinner. I turned to the crowd. There's no wedding today. There's $5,000 worth of lobster and an open bar in the next room. Please enjoy yourself. Consider it a celebration of my narrow escape. I walked out of that pavilion alone. I took off my heels and walked across the grass, feeling the cool earth under my feet. I didn't look back at Sierra screaming at Mark. I didn't look at my father trying to handle the fallout. I got into my car and drove. 6 months later, I'm sitting on a balcony in Greece. Sierra and Mark, they tried to stay together for a few weeks. But turns out when you build a relationship on theft and betrayal, he doesn't have a very strong foundation. Mark lost his job when the video went viral in the local community. Sierra, she's living in a studio apartment, and our mother hasn't spoken to her since the gift. As for me, I realized that being the bigger person was just a polite way of saying doormat. I'm not a doormat anymore. I'm a woman with $60,000 conscience and a very bright future. And honestly, that was the best wedding gift I could have ever given myself.
Hello guys, I am from India. Please my channel subscribe and like video and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.